No, we're actually starting this next session, and we are trying to understand that how to develop quantitative reasoning. Okay, so do you have any idea what this means?
Anything which we explain through numbers, statistically, mathematically, statistically, calculations.
So basically, it's a teaching philosophy. It's a teaching methodology. It's from the perspective that how to enhance quantitative reasoning of your students. Often we see many students in our classes, who are poor at this. People don't have a liking for numbers or for data, or mathematics and for statistics and subjects like these. How to think about that. How many of you, by the way, are teaching any quantitative course in your university? Raise your hand. So quite a few of them. Okay. And I'm sure even if you're not teaching a quantitative course, no matter which course are you teaching, at times it happens is that, you need this reasoning to take place in your students. Okay, they have to be good at understanding, crunching those data sets which are out there. And these days, frankly, you see there's a complete data science which is emerging as a broader area of knowledge where we think that it makes a difference if students go through that and develop this skill of crunching the numbers or understanding real life through numbers. Isn't it?
So even business intelligence is working under data science. And it is always playing with data, quantitative thing.
One aspect that I often think of is because of this modern technology that we have today. There's so much of technology that is helping us, actually using which we can perhaps uh, enhance our teaching in the classroom, where we can get access to so many things out there. Imagine COVID, it happened, and it is not over yet, but still we have been through it. How much of the data or information has developed through it that needs to be understood, that needs to be taught, that needs to be brought to the classroom, where students gather a better understanding of this huge pandemic that we've been through, isn't it? Yes. But imagine teaching economics, or imagine even teaching management or strategy or finance. You think we need this reasoning there? Even if I'm teaching HR or marketing, do you think we need this reasoning in our students, this capability in our students so that they're able to grasp the hardcore information in the form of data and numbers? So many organizations gather such a lot of data these days, and most of it is available. You want to know the governance of the governments who are sitting out there, you have to go through their websites and look at the things, what is happening in education, what is happening in health, what is happening in urban planning, what is happening in all these different aspects of which we expect from our governments actually, that they should do work on. If you want to understand governance, if you want to understand the managerial aspect of it or the administrative aspect of it, you have to go through real-time data. That means data is important. Data information is important. How can we bring this into our classes? How can we develop the quantitative reasoning of our students? So, I'm not talking about research right now. We're out of that. We're talking about classroom where perhaps there are courses we can better teach to enhancing the quantitative reasoning skill of our students. Do you agree on that? Any comments? Any criticism? Any questions?
That is
Think about your own courses. The course, I don't know which courses are you actively teaching or you have been teaching in your classes. But imagine, where is it that you need this reasoning in your students? Can I take some random examples? Dr. Russell?
I'm teaching entrepreneurship last 3 semesters. I
So there's a certain content that you're teaching.
Yes, sir.
So inside entrepreneurship, can you highlight on some of the areas where perhaps you would need quantitative reasoning in your students?
Like, new startups and failures.
All right.
That can be one area.
Startups
And
and,
failures and
failures of startups.
yes, sir.
One way to convince your student is, whenever you're teaching something, is you subjectively address the topic. One way is that you subjectively, with all those qualitative aspects that you keep on telling them. But then, wouldn't your student ask a random question? Sir, Peshawar में कितने startup fail होते हैं? या पाकिस्तान में कितने startup fail होते हैं? या पूरी दुनिया में कितने startup fail? Where from that information will come? Naturally, I can strengthen my course by adding that factor to it. I can find some values, data, some sets of data, which will strengthen my argument. Not just qualitatively, but you are bringing hardcore facts into it. Isn't it?
Yes.
And that data is available. Isn't it? Yes, I'm sorry, Majid Saab. Is this Sadiq Majid? No, you're not sitting on your.
Actually, sir, we were discussing the topic even yesterday. So that's why I'm here.
It's all right. You can take a start. No problem. Yes. The course that you're teaching?
So let us stay on the quantitative econometrics.
Econometrics. One difference that US has over all other economies in the world is because they had 100 years plus macroeconomic data stored with them, recorded with them. They still keep on recording that data. And that is why, not only they're making better policies, but their students and their universities and everybody has an access to that information. And whenever you're teaching them any model, theoretical model, there's a quantitative backup. You can always relate it to, to the real scenario at the ground. Any of the friend who's teaching an HR course?
Sir, I want to give an example. That
Mariam?
what I did want. Okay, I'm teaching human resource management, and I was studying this research article that is published in Economist, how there is a shift from human labor towards robotics and softwares. And then there is an analysis, human manpower is reducing, and they're surprisingly worried what we're going to do onwards because the populations are generating more. And in comparison, the robotics, software, and artificial intelligence, all this is increasing. So I showed them this data quantitative reasoning thing on Economist and the global unit World Economic Forum. So there the students concluded how the things are in parallel and opposite to each other.
All right, so, one tip here is for all of us. Usually newspapers, they come with a lot of information on the changing patterns in society, in economy, generally, the changing patterns that are there. They keep on talking about it. They keep on discussing things about it. For example, a lot of internal migration takes place, especially in our country. Our urban neighborhoods, they are increasing day by day. There's a great influx of people. Plus, the military operation that we have had in the last couple of years had a major demographic impact on many things, isn't it? That you have to somehow keep an eye on, the estimates or the numbers perhaps that somebody is reporting and you're bringing that to the class. That, okay, dawn mein ye article aaya tha, itne log move kiye because of war, is area mein. Impact क्या है? Business पे impact क्या है? Economy पे impact क्या है? Facilities पे impact क्या है? This will open up the student's mind, isn't it? So you're just generating a debate, adding that thing, but that again depends on what kind of homework are you doing with your course. I'm not just saying that you teach everything with quantitative facts, but wherever it is related, wherever you think that, it will open up a student's mind, you should bring that to your classroom. So quantitative reasoning is something that, students, when they engage in that discussion, they will bring the hardcore observed facts to classroom. They will work on their own in their assignments. They will work on their own on their projects, and they will bring in a lot of information, which enhances the learning of the whole class. So not every student will be doing that, but of course, a few will be doing it more. And the rest of the class will benefit from it. You alone cannot do a lot of things in the class, I know that. But then, when there are 30 brains inside a room with you, as a teacher, it is your responsibility that how do you channelize all that energy in the class in a positive manner, which creates an impact in the learning. So quantitative reasoning is one way through which you can generate a lot of good debate in any of the course that you're teaching. And there are dimensions in every course that will be covered quantitatively. All right, and since I'm saying again and again, there are so many organizations who gather a lot of good data that should be utilized, that should be, I mean, we keep on teaching business to our students and all the theoretical models that, there's a theoretical content, we keep on stressing on it. But we hardly relate it to the business out there on the ground, where from that data comes. Naturally, it has to be collected by some entity. And the biggest entity that you and I have access to is the government. Government is generating a lot of data. There are bureaus in every province which are working. There are surveys that take place. There is a household survey, and there is there's so many surveys happen, even for the labor, and so many. You have to somehow connect your students with it. देखो बच्चे ये organization इस तरह का डाटा ये हम theory पढ़ रहे हैं ये सारा theoretical है ये reality on the ground है. Connect the two dots now. Connect the dots to make a picture for yourself. It will enhance the learning of students, and it will create that that awareness in the students that who is the teacher who is taking an extra mile for us to bring such the most recent or the most reliable facts and figures into a classroom discussion. Okay. Now, let's go ahead with this. I've been talking about this. Okay. And the ideas part is your bit. How do you enhance the quality of the content that you're teaching? It depends on you. Okay, not only through a good teaching methodology. I mean, there are a number of sessions that we've kept for you here in this program, which will expose you to the different teaching methodologies. Of course, the dominant method remains lecturer. As a lecturer, we're supposed to lecture the people. Okay? But there are so many other methods through which you can teach. Like you were exposed to the case study method a few days ago. Okay? My other colleagues are talking about many other methods. Suit yourself with a method, with the course that you're teaching. What do you think that which of my course should be better taught with which method? And how should I strengthen my course even with this reasoning? You are working on a favorite course content as well with your supervisors. Experiment with it here. Exchange notes with your supervisors. I mean, the course content that we got from all of you, there are typical contents that you're teaching, but let's change it a little. Let's bring in the methodological factor into it. Which method would suit me? Or perhaps if you're going with more than one method inside a course, you can still do that. That you're saying that, okay, these contents I will cover with this method, and these contents I will cover with that method. And if you bring that to your plan of action, the course content, which is, by the way, a written contract between you and your students. The students would know better that you know which of the method my teacher is adopting and what content my teacher wants me to get through so that I learn this course better, so that enhances my understanding and knowledge and skill perhaps some. Now these are the things you have to keep in your mind. You have to bring in things. Newspaper articles आपकी कोर्स से relevant आपको बड़े आराम से मिल जाएंगे, बड़े आराम से आपको मिल जाएंगे. Give it as reading to your students. लेकिन प्लान बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये आप ड्यूरिंग द conduct of the course आप नहीं कर सकते. ये कोर्स पढ़ाने से पहले की बात है. जब आप अपने 4 महीनों का प्लान बना रहे हैं, कि आपने 4 महीने कोर्स पढ़ाना है, तो मेरे पास अभी रिसेंट जो डाटा अवेलेबल है उसको मैं कैसे इनकॉर्पोरेट करूं सो दैट ये मेरे स्टूडेंट्स को ज्यादा फायदेमंद हो, इससे ज्यादा उनको. और ये जो मैं क्वांटिटेटिव रीजनिंग की बात कर रहा हूँ, इस पे आप जनरेट करवाएं डिस्कशन क्लास में. जितना स्टूडेंट्स बोलते हैं, जितना वो इंटरैक्ट करेंगे, इमेजिन पूरे क्लास की नॉलेज उससे हमेशा बढ़ती है, क्योंकि वो एज ए ग्रुप सोच रहे होते हैं और मेजॉरिटी गलत नहीं सोचती. जब वो आप फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स के थ्रू चले जाते हैं, they raise very good questions, they raise very good points inside a debate, inside a discussion. So ideas आते हैं, इवन आप बोल दिया कि आपने किसी भी रियल लाइफ एस्पेक्ट को क्वालिफिकेशन से रिलेट करना है, और ये रियल लाइफ एस्पेक्ट आप कोर्स के साथ कैसे कनेक्ट करते हैं, कोर्स दैट यू आर टीचिंग डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. सो यूजुअली देखिए मुख्तलिफ लेवल्स पे जिस तरह आप भी पढ़ाते हैं, हम भी पढ़ाते हैं, हम मुख्तलिफ आर्टिकल्स भी देखते हैं, हम बुक्स भी रेफर करते हैं, हम बहुत सारे थ्योरी पे हमारा एम्फेसिस मुझे लगता है शायद थोड़ा ज्यादा होता है. रियल लाइफ एस्पेक्ट हमेशा थोड़ा मिसिंग होता है. रिलेटिंग इट विद द हार्ड थिंग और द रियलिटी आउट देयर ये थोड़ा कम होता है. इसको एनहांस चाहिए
सर. इसमें चाहिए कि लेक्चरर्स टीचर्स को जितनी भी इंडस्ट्रीज हैं उनमें एक्सपीरियंस गेन करना चाहिए, ताकि आप जब स्टूडेंट्स को एग्जांपल देते हो, यू कैन रिलेट हाउ द थिंग्स आर वर्किंग इन चीप ड्रिल जैज, तो वो फिर प्रैक्टिकल चीज के साथ कनेक्ट करते हैं. हम तो इनको एक तो बुक्स अमेरिकन एप्पल आईबीए ऑल दीज वी आर टीचिंग दिस, क्यों नहीं हम लोग अपने लेक्चरर्स यहाँ पे जाएं, इंडस्ट्री में एक्सपीरियंस गेन करें और फिर इनको प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल्स दें.
True, that's good.
बड़ा प्रेशर ना हो तो प्रैक्टिकल मार्केट से लोगों को लेकर आए ताकि वो रियल सिनेरियोस उनके सामने प्रेजेंट करें, तो फिर उनको पता चल सके कि व्हाट्स हैपनिंग इन द मार्केट.
अच्छा, शायद ये मैंने पहले भी आपसे बात की थी, अप्रोच की बात है. लफ्ज़ यानी कि हम हमेशा बात करते हैं, ठीक है, उनसे सीखना भी चाहिए बहुत सारी बात. जैसे पिछले सेशन में मैंने कहा, अगर आप इनका रिसर्च कल्चर देखें ना, that's quite different from many other institutions. Likewise, the other culture, academic culture, is different as well. The program and the curriculum revision culture is even different there. The method, their dominant methodology that they have adopted to, and they actually benchmarked Harvard. और वो केस मेथड का उन्होंने बड़ा एम्फसाइज किया, क्योंकि उनको लग रहा था कि ये बड़ा एक डेफिशिएंट एरिया है. हमें अपने लोकल बिजनेस का कुछ नहीं पता. हमें अपने लोकल बिजनेस की प्रॉब्लम्स, अपॉर्चुनिटीज, एक्सपेंशन, ग्रोथ, तमाम मोडालिटीज जो किसी भी बिजनेस को इम्पैक्ट करते हैं, मॉडल्स नहीं है हमारे पास. उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने बहुत सारा रिसर्च फंड डाला और अपनी फैकल्टी को वो इनकरेज करते हैं कि वो केसेस लिखें. अब टीचिंग केसेस जो हैं, टीचिंग केस लिखना, इट इज टोटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम राइटिंग अ रिसर्च पेपर. तो उसके अपने एक फ्रेम है, जिस फ्रेम के अंदर आपको सोचना है. वो आप हाइपोथेटिकली भी कोई केस बना सकते हैं कि आप किसी स्टूडेंट की लर्निंग एनहांस करें, या कोई रियल लाइफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का केस बना सकते हैं. आपको कभी मौका मिले तो आप लर्न्स की जो केसेस हैं उनको जरूर रिव्यू करें और देखें वो लोकली डेवलप्ड केसेस हैं. बिल्कुल आपके पाकिस्तानी बिजनेसेस के, पाकिस्तानी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के, पाकिस्तानी डाटा के साथ वो आपको तमाम केसेस लेके आते हैं. जी वो ऐसे अवेलेबल नहीं है अभी वो पेमेंट्स पे आपको मिलते हैं यू हैव टू पे दैम बिकॉज़ उन्होंने एक अपना बना लिया एक अच्छा बिजनेस मॉडल बनाया है that as a teacher if you need something you can write to them you need a particular case in some area they can give you a list you can shop in there आप उसमें शॉप कर सकते हैं but the point that I'm making is can't you write cases why can't you case is such a methodology now that you know as an academic that if you start working on after some time you will develop a case and the case is such it is not just the problem that you're mentioning but it is from the perspective कि class में पढ़ाना कैसे है एक पूरा plan of action मैंने थोड़ी बात की थी पिछले सेशन एक proper board plan एक proper management plan पहले से सवाल आपके ज़हन में है कि आपने पूछना है ये पता है किससे पूछना है क्लास में आने से पहले लम्स के प्रोफेसर्स को ये पता होता है कि इस केस में हम क्या करने जा रहे हैं एक पूरा प्लान ऑफ एक्शन और वो पूरा तैयारी के साथ एक टीचिंग नोट होता है हर केस का व्हाट इज द टीचिंग नोट दैट इज फॉर योर फैसिलिटेशन कि अच्छा आप ये केस क्लास में पढ़ाएंगे तो आप कैसे पढ़ाएंगे और इसमें कौन कौन सा इंफॉर्मेशन पहले स्टूडेंट गो थ्रू करेगा हर केस में जितने केसेस अभी तक मैंने देखे हैं there's a good part which is quantitative without crunching the numbers you can never understand the real life problems you have to crunch numbers you have to go through because things are connected और इकोनॉमिक चीज को हम बिजनेस से तो निकाल नहीं सकते ठीक है वो तो आप कभी नहीं आप डेमोग्राफी को जिस तरह मैंने पहले कहा कि मूवमेंट होती है इनसाइड द पॉपुलेशन आप कैसे डिस्कार्ड करते हैं उसको उसका इम्पैक्ट होगा अक्सर ये होता है कि किसी एक क्लास में शायद कंक्लूजन पे लोग ना पहुंचे यू नेवर टेल द आंसर you leave it open for the students बहुत सारा डिस्कशन जनरेट करवा के भी जवाब नहीं बताते आप स्टीयर करते हैं उनकी लर्निंग को कि वो खुद इनिशिएट करें डिस्कशन उसको लीड करें किसी रास्ते चार रास्ते हैं कौन सा बेस्ट है कौन सा डिसीजन देना चाहिए लीव इट ओपन फॉर द स्टूडेंट बिकॉज रियल लाइफ इज जस्ट लाइक दैट in real life people have to take their own decision nobody else can take your decision isn't it so teaching with cases has that advantage that you enhance the learning ability of a student in such a manner कि जब वो real life में जाता है ना अब ये methodology है आपने उसको train कर दिया कि यार real life भी बड़ी uncertain है बड़ी risky propositions होती हैं बहुत चीजें हैं जो समझ में नहीं आती but still you have to work still you have to do things still you have to make decisions without so and this is basically you know always outcome based you have to think if we are enhancing even the quantitative reasoning through a case maybe what are you thinking about what skill or what learning outcome are you assuring through your methodology इससे क्या होगा अभी अगर मैं किसी भी मेथड से पढ़ाऊं या कोई भी मटेरियल लेके आऊं लर्निंग आउटकम क्या हो एक स्टूडेंट क्या सीख के जाएगा और उसके लिए आपकी क्लास लेना अगर वो किसी भी स्टूडेंट को याद हो अगर आप उसको लगता है कि घंटा डेढ़ बैठ के मैंने कुछ सीखा है और मैं थोड़ा प्रोग्रेस किया है आई टेल यू आपकी क्लास कभी बंद नहीं होगी वो हमेशा प्रेजेंट होगा स्टूडेंट क्योंकि वो इंटरेस्ट डेवलप होता है लर्निंग ऐसे तो नहीं होती कि बस आपने एग्जाम अच्छा कर दिया बहुत स्टूडेंट्स इस तरह भी सोचते हैं कि सिर्फ डिग्री लेनी लेकिन देयर आर मेनी स्टूडेंट्स इन क्लासेस who want to enhance the real learning from a course that we teach.
I'm coming up with a problem while discussing things. Even I like to discuss things with students. The thing is, like, एक दफा वो start हो जाते हैं, then it doesn't stop. और फिर मेरा जो lecture होता है in my mind, जी ये चीजें minded बनी because we have to complete the course as well. फिर क्या करना चाहिए?
अच्छा ये देखिए ये डिसिप्लिन मैंने पिछले सेशन में भी कहा था यू आर द बॉस यू आर द लीडर इफ यू आर सच अ बॉस और सच अ लीडर कि आप एक सेशन का टाइम नहीं मैनेज कर पा रहे हैं आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम योर ओन सेल्फ नोबडी एल्स कैन टेल यू दिस कोई आपको नहीं बताएगा कि आपने क्या करना है आपने अपने कंटेंट को श्योर करना है कि वो स्टूडेंट्स एक अच्छी लेकिन जब ओवर डिस्कशन हो रही होती you have to stop it and you have to bring it back to the track. ये आपको खुद करना पड़ता है, ठीक है? So ये learning cycle में with this with passage of time हम सीख भी लेते हैं थोड़ी experimentation के बाद, लेकिन ये है कि हमेशा कोशिश करते रहना चाहिए. और इसमें मैं बार बार ये कह रहा हूँ कि आपका कंटेंट जो आपने कोर्स कंटेंट डिजाइन किया हुआ है फॉर अ 4 month टीचिंग कोर्स, वो आप कैसे एश्योर करेंगे कि आप कोर्स भी कवर करें और आप बहुत हेल्दी डिस्कशन भी रखें और आप ये तमाम, दिस इज अ स्किल बेसिकली दैट यू डेवलप ओवर टाइम. लेकिन देखिए इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हम मुख्तलिफ चीजें आपके सामने रख रहे हैं, सिर्फ आपको बता रहे हैं यार ये भी हो सकता है, वो भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है, वो भी हो सकता है. करने वाले आप लोग होंगे, ठीक है? एकेडमिकली आप कब एक स्टार टीचर बनते हैं, कब एक पॉपुलर स्टार टीचर, वेरी मच रिस्पेक्टेड, जब स्टूडेंट को ये लगे कि नहीं जी इन्होंने बड़ा अच्छा स्टेयर किया, बड़ी अच्छी लीडरशिप हमें दी है, बहुत अच्छा कोर्स पढ़ाया है, बहुत रियल लाइफ के साथ कनेक्ट किया, हमारी लर्निंग एनहांस हुई है, हम कुछ सीख के इस कोर्स से निकल रहे हैं. जो डोमिनेंट हमारा वो मेथोडोलॉजी है, लेक्चर बना फेमस वाला, उसमें सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉबैक ये है कि स्टूडेंट जस्ट विश कि बस ये खत्म हो. Because most of the time we are talking and nobody's even interacting, बस बैठे हुए हैं और हम दिन ब दिन यही करते हैं. रोजाना जाके हमें ये लगता है कि मैं अपना सबसे अच्छा तरीका इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूँ. कभी आप खुद से नहीं सोचते कि यार क्या वाकई यही सबसे अच्छा तरीका है जिससे मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ. टाइम तो आप वैसे भी लगा रहे हैं. एंड माइंड यू, लेक्चरिंग में आपकी ज्यादा एफर्ट और एनर्जी लगती है. इन ऑल दीज अदर मेथड्स आप थकते भी नहीं हैं, आपको इतना शायद काम नहीं करना पड़ता, लेकिन you're using a smart way of teaching them. एक ऐसा तरीका जिससे स्टूडेंट लर्न भी कर रहे हैं, खुश भी हैं, इंटरैक्ट भी कर रहे हैं, डिस्कशन भी कर रहे हैं. There's a lot of research, बहुत सारे आपको रेफरेंसेस मिल जाएंगे. रिसर्च कहती है कि फायदे की बात है, टीचिंग पर्सपेक्टिव से क्वांटिटेटिव रीजनिंग डेवलप करना एक स्टूडेंट की लर्निंग एनहांसमेंट के लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है. इसको आपको फोकस करना चाहिए. So I've just given one reference here with a couple of points. What comes to your mind when you're looking at these different terms? There are many terms, go through them, take a look at them.
Very important currently what is happening around the dollar rate, inflation.
Have you ever taught one of these perhaps in one of your courses somewhere, or have you talked about it in your class with your students?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Most of them except beauty.
So it's not mandatory that you've taught all of them or you've discussed all of them, but even a couple of points that you've taught them. Yes. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Which of these subtopics or small little constructs that I've made for you would make you believe that quantitative information will not be available on it? Just say it now critically. The question is that which of these small little topics you will find it very hard to find data on? Quantitative information.
Personality.
Sir, everything is
Happiness.
I believe
Lots of content that is available on each and every topic.
Let's make a rational discussion, and you have to convince me with your argument. Okay, convince me with your argument that with this it is not possible. This it is possible. I am just asking you, which of the, there could be, I could bring 24 more into this lecture, but I just brought a couple so that we generate a discussion over it. Which of the things you believe are quantitatively not possible to be gathered? You can't quantify them.
wisdom.
Wisdom,
Emotions.
beauty. Beauty.
Personal motivation. These are qualitative things.
okay? Yes.
So happiness, because if you want to have a subjective view, how many people are happy or not, that is
How much
possible. But
happy, how
if
much-
quality of happiness, that how much is someone happy, this is somehow difficult
So you're
to
saying happiness,
happens.
all right, yes?
Some emotions and.
Emotions, wisdom, yes, Dr. Hassan?
I believe everything can be measured.
You believe everything could be measured?
Can have.
Fareed?
Wisdom.
Wisdom?
Intelligence.
Shah Hassan? Beauty can't be measured? All are quantifiable.
Emotion, intelligence.
Wisdom?
Last three, sir.
Why do you say wisdom is not measured?
Because this is something you can't measure it. If I'm looking into this thing, it's a quantitative form. आप wisdom का पूरा जो quantitative terms है उसको आप नहीं कैटेगराइज कर सकते. मैं अंदाजा नहीं लगा सकती how much wisdom is inside my brain. नहीं, अब कैसे पता लगा सकते हो? मतलब intelligent
There are things जो हमें खुद भी तंग करते हैं कि मेरा wisdom कितना है, मैं खुद भी measure नहीं कर सकती. Isn't it?
इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट हो सकता है. आप IQ टेस्ट एक्सपीरियंस कर सकते हो.
Personality.
Okay.
Personally, it is measured.
Sorry, I'm forgetting your name. You're not sitting on your name.
Yes, sir.
Anish
Kashmiri, sir.
Amir Kashmir. Razada is there.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, Amir Kashmir.
Sir, I think emotions, intelligence, and wisdom.
Intelligence can't be measured.
Intelligence can be.
Have you heard about an IQ test?
Yes, so intelligence can be measured.
You see, the problem is, because there are things, again, there are things in our own head, and we perhaps do not trust in a measurement system as well. We believe that perhaps an IQ test would do a poor job of measuring somebody's intelligence or wisdom. I agree.
Yes.
Sometimes we do not trust the scale on the basis of which something is measured,
Exactly.
but still we want to measure it. It is important that you measure it. There are so many jobs in the world which would require a certain level of IQ in you. And they would try to measure that in you. You keep on telling them, I'm very intelligent. I have a lot of wisdom. Would they trust you? Unless they pass you through a test.
Just like the job,
Yes or no?
just like the job of a pilot. Just like the job of a pilot, you have to pass that test.
But not even job, even when you're applying for anything, you're applying for PhD, MS, or even at graduate level. You have to give exam, they test your intelligence, either you're capable or not.
I'll bring three questions to your perspective. The IQ, the EQ, which is the emotional quotient in a person. And then the PQ. What is PQ? That's the people quotient. People's quotient. Even that is measurable. The qualities that you have in you, that how much do you interact with other people? How good you are communicating with the people, how good you are in understanding the people's perspectives on something. Inner personality could be measured, again, through a test. Now, how good a manager you are, how can that be measured? You have to refer to some test or some way of gathering information through which we can say that he's a good manager and he's a poor manager. He's a bad man. Isn't it?
Yes.
This is not very formally happening with many organizations around here in Pakistan, but you see this happening a lot in the Western world, where they try to measure everything.
Sir, I have interviewed for different jobs in the world. And when I went there, they are not only the people who are interviewing, there are people sitting by side and watching each and every thing you're doing, how you're moving your hands, how you're moving, are you rolling your eyes to them, they try to check your intelligence as well as your anger as well. They try to, as a psychiatric part, they mark you for those things. Before coming to the room, they mark you for all those things, and then they judge you, ki how much are you into these things.
So it is very much out there, I'm saying, isn't it?
Yes.
You need to find a way of measurement. You have to search for it. There are so many things which are quite subjective in the courses that you teach. Students can come with a wild question over it, that, sir, how can we measure it? And you should be able to tell कि बच्चे ये देखो एक tool है, इसके थ्रू करते हैं. ठीक है, उसमें है problems, आप इसको कभी भी defend नहीं करते, but you tell कि यार this is how the humanity is thinking, हम चीजों को measure करते हैं. एक चीज quantity में ज़्यादा अच्छी समझ आती है. Isn't it?
Yes.
Numbers में ज़्यादा आराम से आप कहना अच्छा है और बुरा है और खराब है, कम है और ज़्यादा है. You keep on telling them, they will never get it. Satisfaction score अगर आप बता दें किसी product के user से, ये customer 20% ranking पे और वो 80% पे है, they will understand कि यार उन्होंने ज़्यादा rank किया है तो उनका satisfaction score is quite high by using that product. This is very low. It generates a healthy debate inside classes, isn't it? So what I'm saying is these are random topics. You have a lot of data on them. You have the measurement tools over them. You can measure things, but again, you have to find time to search for things which are relevant to the topics and to the debate that you want to generate into. Isn't it? Somebody talked about beauty. Who talked about beauty? Beauty contribution?
Can be measured.
Many of you.
Yes.
You think beauty can't be measured?
They can't be measured because every year there's a in Hollywood they say top 100 beautiful men that have symmetrical faces, or they show the ladies that they are the top 100 people that they're
That beauty is measured by the poet.
Let's bring it to reality, not to imagination. There's a reality out there. Okay, and what is that reality? Do you know this girl, by the way? What's her name? She looks familiar? Who's she?
I used to have a
Actress. She's a model, actress.
That's
it's not everyone.
She is Miss World 2021. Okay? She belongs to Poland and her name is Carolina. You can search it right now. Okay? She is declared Miss World in 2021. Now, again, there could be a debate in some of the courses in some of the classes. Even if in economics you can relate this, that how beauty would result in the economic benefits of an individual or a society or a country or an economy. I'm telling you, she will make a lot of money in her career, in her lifetime. Because she is declared Miss World, she will get mega projects. She will be there she will be in the high income bracket. Isn't that important that people make money through something?
Specifically when it's beauty.
Not just specifically beauty. Mind you, it's not just beauty. There was another example coming to my head, but I erased that because I was short of time. I'm sure you have watched that Turkish drama in Pakistan, which got very famous.
Yes, sir.
You must have watched a few episodes, maybe, or a season or two. Because it's so long, you get, at the end, you want just it to end. But it had 5 seasons.
Yes.
That was one production which went global from Turkey. You know the amount of income it has generated for all the actors and producers and for the Turkish economy? In billions. And it's one project. People watch it.
Yes,
It was even PTV alone made some 40-50 crores out of it.
Yes.
Just by airing it in Pakistan.
It was second.
Isn't that related somehow? We often keep on talking about, increasing the income of a country. How income can be increased? Isn't that related somehow?
Yes, but what is the role of beauty in it?
It's not, do you think?
The perspective studies.
If people are declared, I'm saying, at a world forum, you're from Poland, you're not from US, you're not from UK or any big economy, going from a very small country, you make money, you get projects, where would that money go?
Sir, I'll give a very basic example of this. Priyanka Chopra was Miss World. What happened? Said go, she was very local. She even I think Priyanka Chopra or the other one, she said that a local tailor made her dress, the debut dress on the same day. But now they are doing multi-billion projects. They have their own. They have their own skincare, they have their own merchandise, and they are doing Bollywood projects, and they generated a lot of income for India.
And even she got.
That is exactly my point. That is exactly my point. There are 10 very famous, you can say scientists or people who worked in some areas who actually generated a lot of fame for the country and a lot of money for Pakistan as well. You know, the first ever virus that ever came to existence,
Yes, that was a Pakistan.
that was developed by 2 Pakistanis. By the time people hardly knew about software, they were Pakistanis.
There is a good point. Miss Marvel Industries, MCU, they brought their MCU character, Miss Marvel, the Pakistani character, and they filmed their project here in Karachi. So that would be a very good image because their fans are crazy, MCU fans are crazy. So they follow each and every character. That means that they will have a very positive image of Pakistan, and that should bring a lot of good revenue for Pakistan.
Isn't it? If Pakistan is good in cricket, would somehow that help the Pakistani cause?
Yes.
Obviously.
Why not? It is all related. Can't you relate all those facts in some of the courses that you're teaching? There's a lot of data on it. So it will not only, attract the students that you're teaching them through very different examples, it will make them think about things. And mind you, this economic perspective is there with everything. You can't exclude it from anything because this is part of us. As individuals, as human beings, we have an economic behavior. And you need to link it with no matter what course but you need that at the same time. So somebody said beauty can't be quantified. It can be. The scientific system that they have now, through which there's Greeks developed a golden ratio. A golden ratio file you can search it on the internet, which basically talks about the length and the breadth of your face. And on that basis, they would declare someone to be more beautiful or someone less beautiful, good looking. But there are so many percentages now. Who is she, by the way? That's Bella Hadid. She is declared through all the current measurement system as the most pretty woman or the most beautiful woman in the entire world. And the test is open for everybody to test themselves, frankly. That's online available. You can go through it and you can find your own measurement. But I'm saying, all these days, like you're talking about Beyonce or you're talking about Amber Heard, she was on the TV for a very long time. I'm sure you know her. They're given these percentages. And the global entertainment industry, naturally they consider these facts when they are selecting these actresses, models in their projects. Isn't it? So it's like a cycle, but the quantitative aspect is still there. You can't deny the fact that quantitatively it is not possible. You are making an effort. Yes. Is the way to please.
So using the advantage of this platform, I just want to have if any of my colleagues can share examples of management or human resource management, how we can use data in those subjects.
All right. How many of you are teaching HR? You are. So you can sit together
Okay.
and you should learn from each other because this is about sharing knowledge, right? Share your knowledge with others. I'm not teaching HR, so I'm not a expert on that. But when we sit, I'm sure we can find different aspects. If we go through your course, we can find many ways where you can put in examples.
Since the session started, I was thinking about this.
Yeah, sure.
So there is a software I want to introduce to everyone. When I was in US,
Could you be a little louder so that everybody can hear?
okay, there is a software that is like very good for data analytics and everything. Maybe anyone know about this? This is World Economic Forum. If net is working, you can just go through it, and it's the like web design for everything. Like in Pakistan, you click on Pakistan. In Pakistan opens with multiple dimensions, multiple, like out of thinking, I'm surprised. And then you click on the Balochistan open in a web design again. So whenever you want to play with data analytics or anything, so you can use this World Economic Forum. Even you can download the software app as well. So it's an amazing tool.
You can show that when they are free. You can just show it to them by coming here. Just show them that website. Often in our teaching courses, something will pop up like there's a lot of poverty. There is poverty. It's poverty driven. It's like, generate a discussion, what is poverty? How it is measured? How can we measure somebody is poor? This is small. By poverty, they all understand that what you're talking about. But they would have never thought about it, that how poverty could be measured. What is that fine line below which you call somebody poor? And naturally, when you get that discussion going in your class, and you give them time that, okay, go back and find information about it and come back and we'll discuss it. They will get into it and they will perhaps know about all those different measures through which poverty is measured. And that is the reality out there, actually. We talked about happiness. Somebody said happiness can't be measured. Happiness of a country is measured on a scale. Do you know the most happy people in the world?
Yes. Netherlands.
I think in Asia.
Canadian. Canadian.
It's consistently Finland from the last couple of years. Finland has the most happy people on this earth, according to a measurement system. You will still find many unhappy people there, but then it is all survey based. It is test based. You're somehow trying to measure that, what most of the people are saying, and you're developing a
Lost side ratio is also 0.
I came through one of the report where it is mentioned that in Asia, Pakistan is the most happiest country.
No, it is not. According to the studies which are conducted by big organizations in the world, UN especially, Pakistan is somewhere 64th out of 144 countries.
Yes.
They did the survey for 144 countries. Pakistan is somewhere 64 or 65. India is, far more unhappy than us. They're somewhere near 100. So we believe that India is all good and this and that. People in inside they have a very big size as well.
So actually, sometimes we, the HR researchers, we come across such difficulty that all these are qualitative aspects and why you are measuring them in quantitatively. So such type of usually.
But as a teacher, realize this. Why am I bringing this debate to this? And as a teacher, realize this. How can you benefit from all these debates that we're making? And what dimensions can you think of teaching your course better with the different tools that you have at your back? Okay. There are links in there, but I'm not going to them because I want to end it up a little early today so that we're online today for the remaining sessions. You can click on the links and it will give you a lot of information. Okay, how to measure index and how much is it in Pakistan. Now these are those random topics. You want to talk about corruption? It's a daily debate that happens in our classrooms. There's a lot of corruption. A student would say that. Perhaps you link it to corruption.
Political.
It is all like that. But have you ever, brought this thing that how corruption is measured, or how it should be measured, or what kind of information is there on corruption available? Many entities are gathering this information for all of us to No, to bring it to classroom discussions.
International.
Exactly. So there are so many organizations. I see. Again, I have put in random topics there, and there are links in there. When you go there, it will show you a number of quantities which are there. A lot of quantitative debate is there, and very recent one that you should bring it back to your class. We can even measure your personality. What kind of a personality you carry? Have you seen this index before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What's this index?
So this is a 16 Myers-Briggs personality test we used to conduct on students and teachers. There are 4 dimensions according to which you evaluate a person: intuitive, introversion, extroversion. Are you introvert person, extrovert person? Thinking and feeling based on judgmental and emotions and sensing, intuition. You touch a thing and how you do with the intuition one. Sensing is with the 5 senses you play with that. So there are basically 16 questions you have to answer, and accordingly they conclude with a personality. Are you combination? There are multiple personality results that used to come. Exactly.
All right. If you're interested to know your personality a little more, by the way, we have an opinion about our own self. Like I feel I'm like a great actor in the world, or, I'm like him or I'm like that. You have a view of your own self. But when you go to a psychometric test like this, you know a little more about yourself. Because that test is trying to measure by your answers. That if I ask you a question and you give me an answer for something after thinking, naturally some reflection of yourself would come out. Maria can help us with this. If you want to know your personality, she can conduct a Myers-Briggs personality typing index. Why should we know your personality? Why should we be interested in knowing your personality? No, not you. Lalzada, what do you think? Hadisa, what benefit would it serve if I know your personality more?
If I know my personality, that will help me a lot in my
Let's say
area.
I'm interested in knowing your personality, and I want to conduct that test with you.
Okay.
So how would it benefit me?
Yeah. If you are a job provider, then you will need some specific traits and some personality, and you want to.
Makes sense?
Yes. Yes.
That's a good discussion, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can fit people with different types of roles which are there. You can pursue a typical kind of career in your life. By knowing about yourself more makes good rational explanation of why should we conduct a personality typing test. If you're an introvert, you may suit some different positions in an organization. But if you're an extrovert, you should be put, if I'm the boss of the organization and I know more about your personality, I can keep you in teams, I can put you to jobs, I can put you in different situations where the organization will benefit more. You as an individual will benefit more as well. You will get the satisfaction from that position more, isn't it? Again, we're talking about personality and it can be measured. So with this, I stop this session, and in this session, I've tried to bring in this discussion that how quantitative reasoning can add value to the courses that you're teaching. And please do think over it. You're already revising your courses here with us. Try to incorporate these things in the course that you're learning. Okay, the course that you're revising and you're learning about it yourself. Make a better plan so that by the time it is completed, you can take it to your class and you can work on that plan in the future with your students. So we thank you very much for your today's patience as well. We have lunch break now, I guess till 2 o'clock. 2:30. Okay, so there's a prayers break and a lunch break, and I'm sure this is ample time. So please come back at 2:30 exactly, so that the remaining sessions could be held at time. Because one of the things is that I told you in the morning as well, that our American colleagues will be taking their session. So we want to be on time with them. Thank you very much. So by the way, one last thing, all these presentations that I've made, your assignment and all these other things that I've been talking about, the small little pamphlets that I was giving you for activities, they're all available on the channel in Microsoft Teams in soft form. You can take them from there. So they're in the files folder of the channel, which is 4 days training program. Just click on the 4 days training program and you will find all those materials there. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
अच्छा, अगर कोई understanding family जाने के लिए वो link share करूँगी, 100 questions हैं छोटे-छोटे, yes, no, yes. आपके बात पता चल जाएगी कि आपकी personality क्या है, आपके strengths क्या हैं, आपकी weaknesses क्या हैं, आपके relationship कैसे होने चाहिए अपने spouse के साथ.